Namaskara. I am Sheila Parthanarayana. I will be the MC for today's workshop. The Great India Festival, TGIF representative and I are pleased to welcome to this exclusive workshop session by Yoga in Canada that suffice a motive of practicing and living natural holistic life to the fullest. The Yoga in Canada is in collaboration with the Heartfulness organization and is a cultural partner of the Great India Festival, TGIF. Furthermore, it is evident that heartfulness is a path to self realization. It gives us the experience of feeling our own true self from the core of our heart set and showers with immense love, peace, calm from within ourselves. We are honored to associate with the Heartfulness Institute, which is a global non-profit institute in more than 100 countries with almost 4 million practitioners worldwide. Heartfulness Institute has been delivering their service in Canada for the past 47 years now. To benefit from this service, TGIF represents 4 meditation sessions to promote mental wellness and relaxation. We have already witnessed 2 sessions, which was on March 6th and March 13th on experiencing pranahuti and stress detox respectively. Today, on March 20th, we will be attending the fear and anxiety detox session. In addition, our last Yoga in Canada session on developing inner poise will be conducted on March 27th. Hoping you all will be able to attend that too, conducted at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. Let me introduce our lead coaches for the today's workshop. Firstly, Mr. Vishwa Srinivasan, who is a certified heartfulness trainer with almost 1,500 hours of experience in training other potential seekers and has been practicing heartfulness meditation for 20 years plus himself now. Secondly, Mr. Tanmay Kansara, who is also a certified heartfulness trainer. He also has almost 500 hours of training experience, and he also has been practicing heartfulness meditation himself for 15 years now. One last information I would like to notify before starting the workshop is that the International Day of Yoga, which is on June 21st, 2021, will be celebrated by the Yoga Summit in Canada, collaborated with the Heartfulness Institute. Now I shall hand over to Mr. Srinivasan.
Thank you very much, Sheila. And first of all, a very good morning for those who have joined the session today on a Sunday. And first of all, I would like to begin by thanking the Great Indian Festival of Ottawa for partnering with Heartfulness, giving us this platform through which we are able to connect with all of you. So first of all, thank you so much for that. We are only looking forward to see how we can deepen this partnership and take it to the next level. So as Sheila very beautifully put it, that this is a 4-part series, and we have already finished 2 series. The first one, we experienced something called as pranahuti, which is a very unique special feature with respect to heartfulness, where we try to meditate with pranahuti, and then we were able to feel the difference that it brings to one's meditation. In the second session, which just happened last week, we went through something called as a stress detox, where like we took up a particular technique. We try to go through that guided technique to see how one can clear off all the stresses that has gone into our system and has created some sort of an impact. Today, we are going to be looking at a complete different technique altogether. The technique that we will be looking at today is something that will help you release any fear and anxiety in your system. Before we go into the session, first of all, it's important for us to understand what is stress, what is anxiety, what is the difference between the technique that you covered last week and this week. While I explain this one, I request probably Sheila to launch a poll, just a couple of questions. So I would, in the meantime, you can choose to answer this question. You see, stress is, I'll give you an example so it's easy for us to understand. Let's say that, there is a deadline that you have to meet at work. So obviously, we will feel the rush, we will feel the, stress. I'll give you another example. So think about, let's say that you are stuck in a traffic and you are late for an appointment, right? You will feel the pressure in you. The point is, remove that particular situation off and you will become normal. So if let's say somebody comes from your office and says, forget about the deadline, there is no more deadline, the deadline has moved, you will just come back to your normal self. Similarly, let's say that somebody calls and says, you know what, it's okay, the meeting has got cancelled. The meeting that you're trying to rush to, you will find that, you will just come back to a normal self. Or let's even give an example. Let's say that, this COVID time, many people get to work from home, many people cannot. So we have to deal with our kids at home. So the crisis situation that sometimes unfolds in our house with kids, right? It can add to a tremendous amount of stress. Now imagine that the kids have gone to sleep. So nothing of that kind. You will come back to your normal self. So generally, when you talk about stress, the stimulators of that particular stress are very visible. It's easily recognizable, and you can acknowledge. Yeah, if somebody were to ask you, why are you so stressed? You will be able to say, you know what, this is a reason. Like, the kids are making me just like go mad. I just can't handle it. My work hours are like too difficult. Like, I'm not able to handle it. So that's the stress. So you will be able to visibly recognize what is that which is causing you that stress. This stress can lead to anxiety, whereas anxiety is very different. Many people interchangeably think that, I don't have anxiety, I have stress. But anxiety and stress are very different. Stress can lead to anxiety. The problem with anxiety is you cannot visibly acknowledge or recognize what is that which is causing you this anxiety. Everything will be well. A person will be suddenly beginning to think and worry about, like, why certain things are happening in your life, when certain things are going to become normal. Like, you'll be just wondering, something is going on. If somebody has to come and ask you in your house, what's going on, why are you so low, like what's happening? I just don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm so low. I just need to probably go and sleep. That's how we will feel. We can't really say exactly what is that which is bothering us. So this becomes like a repetitive one, which just keeps going on and on and on inside. And that's continuously beginning to worry us. The problem with anxiety, if you were to look at it, we will be able to notice them as, say, intense fear, or sometimes, like, we worry about things continuously. Sometimes it goes on to the point of incapacitating a person, that you just can't move from your seat. You will just feel the jitters, you will feel the chest pain, palpitation, sometimes even the dizziness, your energy levels. You will just feel that somebody plucked in a straw inside your system and then just suck the juice out of it. So this is, first of all, the difference between the stress and anxiety. So last week we looked into a particular technique which works in a very beautiful way to remove technique, because the nature of which it works is very different. Today we will be presenting to you a complete different technique. And in this technique you will find that we will be sharing with you a complete different technique. And as the session goes, I will share with you how this technique works. I will also give you a guided experience of it, so you yourself can feel the difference before and after when this particular technique finishes. Now, if you have still not finished the polls, we have got like around 61% of the poll. Feel free to just answer that thing. The reason is, like, we can see towards the end whether we have gained a proper amount of understanding on what this anxiety and stress is. Okay, so with that said, I will move to the next slide. See, first thing what we have to understand is, generally whenever we are faced with a fear, let's say there is an exam that it's coming up in 1 month time, and we have to do it. Whenever that fear catches up, we just shut ourselves. You know what, I don't want to even think about it. We just want to run away from it. Or let's say that there is it can be very simple as, let's say, a credit card bill that's coming up for you to pay, and you don't want to even think about how much money is going to go out of your bank account. You just simply shut yourself. I don't want to even think about it. The best thing to deal with the fear is to face it rather than run away from it. How do we face it? Because if something can be so debilitating, something that can incapacitate a person, how do you face it? The easiest way in which one can face it is by taking up to a effective meditation system that can probably help us deal with this one. Now, with that said, I will hand it over to Tanmay, and he will take us into the session.
Perfect. Thank you, Vishwa. And good morning, good evening to everyone who's connected through Zoom and Facebook feeds. Thank you, TGIF Sheila. as well for organizing this wonderful session and helping us spread the techniques that have helped us become better individuals and see how we can share it with the rest of the group, rest of the community, rest of the folks around. So without more further ado, we'll jump right into the core of it, why we're all here. We all know that there's a lot of fear out there in today's world. For the past year has been exaggerated because of COVID. But in general, we are all afraid about something. You know, Vishwa gave some beautiful examples, meeting late for meetings, exam tension, exam stress, or meeting deadlines, and so on and so forth. So the agenda for today will briefly try and cover what Heartfulness Institute is. We won't spend too much time on it. We've already covered this in the past two sessions. Sorry. So we'll quickly gloss over those ones to give you an idea of what we are doing. We'll then address fear and anxiety from a COVID perspective, because that is currently the issue that is affecting a lot of us. Then we'll try and identify signs of fear and anxiety, so kind of help you differentiate whether you actually have fear and anxiety. We'll go through what causes them, and then lastly we'll cover the techniques that Vishwa was mentioning about, of how this technique is different from the one that you saw for the stress detox, and how Heartfulness can help you deal with the fear. Because I mean, you know what the cause are, you know you have it. Where does Heartfulness come into play? How can Heartfulness help you remove those and live a normal and a centered life? All right, so at a very high level, and I think Sheila covered a big chunk of this as well, Heartfulness is, we practice mental wellness through the heart, as the name says, Heartfulness. We are a global nonprofit in over 140 countries with 100,000 plus volunteers. We partner through UN, and again, which one, next slide, please. We are not just an organization that only practices. We also have a lot of community outreach as well. We have two very global events that we do on a yearly basis. One of them is going to be coming up that we're partnering with TGIF on, the International Day of Yoga. And in 2020, the two global events, we had a coverage, or we touched over 52 million participants. And as I said, we have a lot of community outreach as well. We do a lot of work with the police services, firefighters, long-terms. And in COVID time, we had a lot of food banks. We helped the food banks. We delivered meals to hospitals. We do a lot of corporate workshops for mental wellness and well-being. We do work with the universities and through various other organizations like TGIF, where we try and help them teach what we know and see if that helps people improve their daily lives to a certain degree. So that's Heartfulness in a nutshell. So now we'll dive into the topic of the day, and we'll sort of tailor it a little bit from a COVID perspective. Then we'll look at fear and anxiety in a general perspective. So when you look at today's world outside, we are going back into a phase 3 of a COVID surge. Certain areas are going in lockdown. Certain areas are being marked as red zones, orange zones, gray zones, you name it. There is a lot of concerns, a lot of fear amongst folks. There is not only the financial instability that people are afraid of. There is also, we haven't seen a lot of our friends and families in ages. Everything is now what we're doing Zoomed, as we call it. We haven't been able to connect with our neighbors. We haven't been able to go out to do all the daily activities we used to go out for. So that all this, and especially when you have this whole activities being going on for almost a year now, they kind of add up a little by little. We are afraid of getting sick. We are afraid of basically saying, okay, what if I have COVID? We are afraid of, a lot of us have families in other part of the world, and we haven't been able to travel there because of all the international airspace lockdowns, and we haven't been able to connect or help them other than just virtually and hope that everything will be okay on their side. So that also adds an additional layer. of fear and anxiety, saying, okay, I hope they're doing well. I hope my parents are doing well, or my brother or my sister are doing well. Classic example is just look at the US-Canada border. It's been closed for non-essential travel for over a year now. So US-Canada being neighbors, there's a lot of folks who have cousins, brothers, sisters, siblings on the other side of the border, and we can't visit them, or we haven't been able to visit them for almost a year plus now. So this COVID era has caused a lot of issues, and these are all the emotional issues. Then there's the whole financial aspect of, you see, companies shutting down. We see a lot of retail industry, restaurant industry being affected. A lot of sales folks are being affected. In my community, or my Facebook feed, or my LinkedIn feed, I see a lot of people saying, okay, because of the restructure, we have been let go. So all these things add up. It kind of leaves a little bit of an impression in our head, saying, okay, you know what, these guys have been affected because of their job. I hope my job's going to be safe and secure, because at the end of the day, we all are going to be wanting to earn money, and we all need that sort of comfort that from a financial perspective, we are all settled in. Next one, Vishwa. So as we said, numbers speak much better than words. We'll just look at the simple survey that was done by Ledger and Associates. One thing that is strikingly, concerning, or that strikingly drops out, is this slide number, point number 2. It says increase from 52% in 2 weeks, the COVID impact. So people, they did a poll. This is, I think, April 2nd, and they did a poll 2 weeks prior to April 2nd. So between the 2 weeks, in the 2-week period that they did the poll, they found out that almost 13% people were more concerned about the COVID impact on their day-to-day life, whether it's emotional, mental, financial, whatever it is, in just a 2-week span. That is a big jump when you just look at the short span of only 2 weeks. So a lot of folks, as I mentioned, are worried about family, friends, personal savings. Financial impact is a big thing right now. And people feel that COVID has or will present a big threat to our economy, whether it's Canadian, US, or global for that matter of fact. Perfect. Next one, please. So that was sort of the fear and anxiety from a COVID perspective. We all know it's there. Unfortunately or fortunately, COVID's become the kind of the go-to for everything that's wrong in this world. But we do know that once COVID is settled, once the vaccines are spread out, we will hopefully go back to some sort of normalcy. But the effects that we have experienced, the fear, the stress and anxiety, they are not going to go away. They're still going to be there in some form or the other. Right now, they have suppressed through COVID, but when we go back to some sort of normalcy down the line, we will still have to deal with these causes, effects, or these side effects at some point in time, in some other form in our lives. So before we jump into what causes it, let's just try and figure out what are the signs of fear and anxiety. Some of the classic ones, I think, which were touched on those ones where, you become so restless, and you're not even able to get out of your chair. Your heart beats faster. You have stomach problems, indigestion. You're not able to sleep well throughout the night because something is constantly bothering you. There's a fear of something that you haven't been able to get past, and that causes a continuous chain reaction in your mind. You have an increased heart rate, and in general, you're restless, sweaty palms, as they call it. And in some folks, because of the whole stages, you have a little bit here, tomorrow you add some more, tomorrow you add some, day after you add some more. So it kind of adds up, and overall, it kind of, for some of us, it becomes to a level where we start having some sort of panic attacks for some of the things that are totally not in our control. And there's a little bit of an explanation of how panic attacks and heart attack can be differentiated, but this stress, fear, and anxiety disorder particularly cause a lot of these effects in our body to ourselves, and a lot of this has been exaggerated over the last 1 year because of what we've been facing. All right. So we saw the signs. We know what fear is. We saw the signs again, sorry. Now let's try and figure out what are the causes, because you want to understand whether you have it, you want to understand what causes it to your daily life. Then towards the end, we'll figure out how to solve it. We want to understand what causes it, because if you're able to understand what is causing it, we can potentially try and limit the impact of those causes, or change or make some changes in your lifestyle so that the it does not have that much impact like it used to have it. So there's about 4 things that we'll cover. There's a ton of causes for fear. I mean, it's widespread. You see a snake down the road, all of a sudden you become fearful of it. We'll cover some of the main 4 topics, and one thing, there's a lot of impact for the fear. You have the financial impact, you have the emotional impact, and then you have the subconscious impact. We saw that one of the core reasons is that you have an unrealistic expectation. We sometimes expect too much out of ourselves. One of the classic examples is, my wife keeps telling me, you say yes to everything, but are you able to actually deliver all these things without worrying about all these things that you have to deliver for? So we have too high expectations from ourselves, and then we set those high expectations of ourselves. And when we are not able to, we're not able to live up to those high expectations that we set for ourselves, we become anxious. Oh my God, am I going to be able to deliver this on time? What's going to happen if I'm not able to deliver this on time? And we'll see how this whole cycle is related of the uncertainty and fear in just a little bit, but that's one of the causes. The other side effect is when you don't have any anxiety or fear, your normal self is you're centered in your behavior, in your well-being. All your energy is centered. As soon as this whole anxiety and fear comes into the equation, the energy that is centered starts to move towards the periphery. And this ends up resulting in sort of ripple effects and layers of things that will eventually bulk up and show in our behavior, in how we treat things, and eventually come up as an anxiety and a fear attack that we normally tend to. Next one, please. As I mentioned, we'll try and link and finish the whole circle. So a small definition: what is emotion? Emotion is body's response to our mind. Let's say you've seen a movie, or or you think of a very delicious meal. All of a sudden, you have your mouth salivates thinking of the food that you love the most, or the dessert you love the most. Or there's a scene that you saw in a movie or a film, a few days back, and one particular thing caught your eye, and as soon as that scene comes into your head, you kind of have goosebumps, or you kind of just have a little bit of a jitter throughout your body or throughout your spine, thinking of that scene, whether it's an action or a romantic or a horror film. So our mind basically helps us capture and revisit all those scenes that we saw as emotions. Now, let's say one of the classic examples, we covered the meeting, late for the meeting. Why do we actually have a lot of fear? We have to understand what fear is and then what causes the fear. So let's say you have an exam that you're preparing for, or a meeting, or a job interview or something. A lot of times we are afraid of those things because we don't know what's going to happen. It's uncertain for us. So uncertainty, essentially, it causes an anxiety in us. The uncertainty that we have to deal with sort of leads to the buildup of an anxiety. The anxiety that we have just built up over the whole duration of all the things that we have gone through, it results in fear amongst us. So now you see kind of the whole circle, vicious circle, as we call it, kind of one thing leading to another and then to another. So you have this whole thing of fear being developed, and then you have too much emotional buildup that has happened. It causes physical suffering. The examples were the ones that we saw in the previous slide of, you suffer from gastrointestinal problems, or you suffer from sleeplessness, increased heart rate, and not able to focus on something. So it's kind of like it's the full circle of how our subconscious gets affected, which results in the impact being seen to our physical suffering. And as Vishwa pointed out earlier, it's difficult for us to analyze what is that one thing that is causing us this whole anxiety and the fear buildup, as opposed to stress, where you're able to pinpoint to that one thing that's causing it. But when it comes to when it comes to the stress, fear and anxiety, because you have so many things that develop, add to it over the duration of the time, it is very difficult for us to pinpoint that one thing that's causing it. And that's why we're almost not able to figure out what is causing the fear and anxiety amongst us. Now, having said that, one thing to consider is fear bad or is it good? I'll say neutral, because when you think of this, fear, just like happiness, is one of the virtues that our Maker has imparted on us. As the first line, as introduction to this presentation said, how you deal with fear is what matters, because that helps us decide how we're able to live our lives. It is, in our opinion, it's good to have a little bit of fear, because if we don't have a little bit of fear, we start taking things for granted, and we don't want to do that. But at the same time, we don't want to be always fearful of everything. So how to maintain that balance is a very critical thing, in terms of making sure that we are always, we don't overdo things, and we don't let that fear become an ego issue between us and what we're accomplishing. Perfect. So we talked about what is fear, how can you identify yourself, what are the causes of fear. Now all this is kind of moot point until you know how to deal with it. So this is where we're going to present to you our techniques, which have helped us in dealing with anxiety and in dealing with fear and removing them from your system, so that when you need to, you can approach any situation from a centered perspective and give your best to deal with that situation in that point in time. So I'll give it back over to Vishwa, who will guide us through these relaxation and limb cleaning techniques.
Thank you, Tanmay. So what we are going to be doing now is, like, first I will explain to you how we have to do this method, and then I will just give you the guided ones. Just follow this one, and then we can go on. First of all, let's come to this crown area here. Okay. There is a particular point. It's, I think because of my background, you're not able to see my hand. There is a particular receiving station or a point which is just an inch above my skull. It's not exactly on my skull, but an inch above my skull. There is a color to it. We don't have to really worry about this at this point, but just imagine that when I talk about your crown, I'm just referring to this particular point. First thing what we want to do is, like, connect this particular point right up into an energy store. Imagine that there is some eternal energy store, up above, and you're just going to connect your crown point into that particular, the source. If you have gone to some major power stations, you can find these huge transformers, and then there will be these lines and sublines drawing to smaller transformers, and then they just keep going on, so which carry the load. So it's like that the major source is somewhere up above, and you are just connecting this point over here into that particular point. Then what we have to do, we have to first come into a very prayerful state. What is the intention? The intention is we have to clear out all these emotional baggages or any seeds which are causing this fear and anxiety. So first you have to come to a very prayerful state, because for this energy to work on us, our ego, if it interferes, if our intellect interferes, then we can't get the maximum effect of it. So in order for that interference to not be there, we have to sort of, mentally come into a prayerful state. Then what do? We just feel this particular energy after it enters spread through all part of my skull over here. Now, one thing what you have to understand is, like, there are these chakras which we have just spoken about probably in the first session or so, where, like, you have these chakras on the front side of our body. I did touch upon the subject that the traditional yoga system refers to the 7 chakras which are there on the spinal column, and in Heartfulness there are chakras which we deal with on the front side of our body. Now in this technique, we are going to be dealing with some of the energy valves which are located on the side of our body. In order to keep this thing simple and for you to enjoy the experience. Let's not even go into where those energy walls are located, but you will be able to feel it as this technique goes. So I will let you feel that one. Now, what's going to happen when this energy expands over here? We just want to, empty this entire area by having a suggestion that any complexities or impurities that are there in that area are releasing through the sides. Then what happens is energy just flows down through the side of my face. And as it flows down through the side of my face, again, it's, clearing out all the, walls which are there on the side, and then comes down to my throat here, and then comes to a point here. Now, when it comes to this particular point, it diverts and flows inside my heart. Now, how to locate this point is not something we need to take it. Just from a beginner standpoint, let's just have the idea that, my crown is connected to the source. The energy flows down through the neck, it just diverts, goes inside my heart. That's enough. Now have the idea that the heart is filling up. So let your heart fill up for a few seconds. I will give you all the guided instructions so you can just simply follow me. Once the heart is completely filled with this energy, now what we will do is we will very prayerfully, draw this energy and let it expand on the left upper chest of our body. Now, as this energy expands on the left upper chest of the body, the locks, the complexities that are there will begin to release through the sides. For example, there is one particular wall which is right under my armpit for all of us. It will start to release. So again, we don't need to know the location, but just have the idea that it's all releasing through those sides. Now, once it develops, we should not rush in this particular technique at all, because at every point we need to give sufficient time for the technique to work. Now then we need to have the idea that the vacuum is beginning to develop in that area. Vacuum develops only when that entire area is fully rid of any complexities or impurities. After this, we have this idea that this energy further expands and moves up into the shoulder area here. Again, we release all the impurities and complexities there. Have the idea that the vacuum develops. Then we let it flow into the left arm, the left upper arm, elbow, forearms, wrist, fingers. Very importantly, we have to let this energy ooze out through these fingertips. When this energy oozes out through these fingertips, you will feel a sort of a draining effect that's happening in this entire area. Now, you need to have a little bit of sensitivity in order to feel it, but nevertheless, just have the idea that it is happening. That's enough for now. Now, as this happens, you will feel that the entire area over here would have become light and fully vacuumized. Then we come back into the heart here. Again, we have the idea that the connection is still there, and the energy is flowing into my heart and it is filling it. Then what we do, we draw this energy, we let it flow through the left lower part of my body. When it flows through the left lower part of my body, again I let it flow through the left hip area, then left upper legs, left knees, left lower legs, left ankles, left feet, left toes, and then we let that energy ooze out of the left toes. Very importantly, while the energy oozes out of the left toes, you will feel a draining effect happening in this entire area. So as the draining happens, you will feel the vacuum also beginning to spread all over on the left side. So at that moment, if you just pause and just observe the two sides, the left and right, you will feel your left lighter than your right. Then what do we do? So the left side is fully done. Now come back into your heart. Again, feel the connection through which the heart is getting filled with this energy. Now draw this energy from your heart and let it expand on the right upper chest of the body. Same thing, release the things over here, then your right shoulder, then your right hands, let it ooze out through your right fingertips. Great. Then come back to your heart. Again, let the energy fill your heart. Again, draw this energy from your heart, let it flow through the right lower part of your body, like right hip area, right upper legs, knees, all the way out, and let the energy ooze out through your right toes. Again, the draining effect will happen. Now at this point, very importantly, we want to focus on the right big toe. The right big toe, assume that this is the right big toe, the place where my nail is, just this tip over here. There is one chakra here, and there is one chakra right below. Again, what is the significance, what it does, we don't have to know. I will just let you experience it for now. Any questions, and if you want to learn deeper, we have some deep dive sessions through the week. We will assist you, we will take you through the course. So for now, it's sufficient that focus on the big toe, right big toe. and have the idea that this entire area is completely getting drained out and is getting fully vacuumized. Now, once this is all done, now observe your system right from top to the toes and feel if there is any heaviness you feel in any part of your body. 100% you will feel that there is a huge release and lightness. If you ever feel that there is any more heaviness that you have to feel in any part of your body, you can repeat this entire cycle from the left all the way to the right end. You can repeat this one, but most of the times you won't necessarily be needing that one. Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing it. So just follow my guided instruction. We will do this one. When the session is over, I mean, when the meditation or the limb cleaning technique is over, I will let you stay in your heart for a few seconds, and then I will prompt you to open your eyes. Now, when you prompt and when you open your eyes gently, then we will, reflect on what your experience was, and then, we will take any questions that you have, and we will do our best to answer them. So this is what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so gently close your eyes. Gently breathe in and let go. Feel the air flowing in and out of your system. As you breathe in and let go. Now gently tune your attention to your nostrils. As you breathe in and let go, observe through which nostril the breathing is dominant. Is it your left or your right? Make a mental note. Now gently shift your attention into your heart. Hold a firm intention that you want any emotional baggages that are accumulated in any parts of your system will all have to be purged out of your system. So first develop this intention and make it firm that you don't want them in your system and they all have to leave you. Now, very importantly, develop a prayerful attitude with the idea that you want to seek the help of a higher principle to have your system completely purged out. Now, gently tune your attention to your crown. Feel that the point that is there in your crown is now connected to the divine, eternal divine store up above. Make a very prayerful connection. Feel that the connection has now established and very prayerfully draw a thin current of this energy flowing from the source into your crown. Settle down with this idea. Now feel that this energy, after it enters your crown, spreads all over your skull. And feel this energy now descending down through the side of your face. Now have the idea that any complexities or impressions that have gathered in any part of your face, they are all getting released through the sides. Now feel the vacuum that is developing in your face. Now feel this energy flowing further down into your neck area, and further down, this energy flows directly into your heart. Observe how this energy is entering into your heart. Settle down with this idea. Now feel this energy beginning to fill your heart. Now feel your heart fully filled with this energy. Now very prayerfully, draw this energy from your heart and let it expand on the upper left chest area. Feel as the energy expands in the upper left chest area, any complexities and impurities are releasing through the sides. Feel a vacuum that is beginning to develop in that area. Now feel this energy further expand and move up into the left shoulder blades. Feel this energy draining out any complexities and impressions that are there in your shoulder area, and feel the vacuum develop in that area. Now feel this energy now flow into your left arm. Feel the energy expand in your left upper arm. Feel the energy flow into your elbows, into your forearms, into your wrist, your fingers, and feel this energy ooze out through your left fingertips. Feel that as this energy ooze out through the left fingertips, there is a draining effect, and all the complexities and impurities right from your left shoulder through your left hands, everything is all draining out. Now feel the vacuum develop all over in your left arms. Now gently tune your attention back into your heart and feel this energy continuing to flow from the source through your crown into your heart. Let this energy fill your heart. Now, prayerfully release this energy from your heart into the lower left part of your body. Feel this energy just expanding and flowing downwards through your left hip area. Feel any complexities and impurities that are there in your left hip area are releasing through the sides. And then further down, the energy enters into the left upper legs, left knees, left lower leg, left ankles, left feet, left toes, and feel this energy ooze out through the left toes. Feel as the energy drains out of the left toes. There is a draining effect on the left side of your body. Feel that all complexities and impurities, any seeds of it that are on the left side of your body, they are all just flowing out through your left toes. Feel the lightness develop on the left side of the body. Now gently tune your attention back into your heart. Feel this energy from the source flow through the crown and fill your heart. Now, very prayerfully, release this energy from your heart on the upper right chest area. Feel as the energy expand on the upper right chest area. Any complexities and impurities that are there are releasing through the sides. Feel the vacuum develop in the right upper chest area. Now feel this energy expand inside the right shoulder blades. And as the expansion happens in the right shoulder blades, feel any heaviness in that area also releasing through the sides. Now feel this energy flowing into your right arms. Feel the energy enter and expand in your right upper arms, right elbow, right forearm, right wrist, right fingers, and feel the energy release through the right fingertips. As the energy release through the right fingertips, feel the draining effect on the right chest, right shoulder, and the right arms. Feel the vacuum develop in that entire area. Now gently tune your attention back into your heart. Feel this current of energy flowing from the source enter through your crown and fill your heart. Feel your heart fully filled with this energy. Now, very prayerfully, release this energy on the right lower part of the body. Now feel this energy expand on the right hip area. And the energy further flows down into the right upper legs, right knee, right lower leg, right ankles, right feet, right toes, and feel the energy ooze out through your right toes. Observe as the energy ooze out through your right toes, there is a draining effect on the right side of your body. Feel the vacuum that begins to develop on the right side of your body. Now gently tune your attention to your right big toe. Let the energy flow through this right big toe and feel very specifically any complexities and impurities that are there in that right big toe are releasing out, and a vacuum is beginning to develop. Now just observe your system from the crown of your head all the way down to your toes, and observe the lightness that has developed in your system, and observe if you feel any heaviness in any part of your body. Gently tune your attention into your heart. Have the idea that your heart is already filled with the divine essence, and just immerse yourself into this divine essence and rest your awareness be there for a few seconds. Feel the divine current in your heart spreading to all parts of your body. Feel every single cell in your body fully absorbed. Now observe your condition in your heart. Do you feel calm and peaceful? Very importantly, do you feel a difference between before you began this limb cleaning and by the time you finish now? Make a mental note. Also make a mental note if it was very difficult or was it easy to clean your system through this method. Now with a very firm conviction that the cleaning is 100% over, with a heart full of gratitude and prayer, you may gently open your eyes. So that brings us to the end of the limb cleaning method. I would be happy if anybody who has any experiences to share, specifically about how you experienced. And also, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask any questions. And in the meantime, Sheila ji, if it's okay for you to launch the second poll so people can choose to answer, that'll be helpful. Thank you. So feel free to ask any questions or share your experience. And also take a few seconds to probably answer the question, what you have on the screen. So this will help. Anyone, any questions? So Sheila ji, how did you feel?
It was very soothing for me. I could sense the energy flow inside my body and mind.
Beautiful. It's like magic, no?
Yes.
See, generally, whenever, if let's say that we have some exams and we are preparing, right? Whenever we get anxious, it's very important for us to know. Whenever we get anxious, the frontal lobes that we generally use for cognitive processing, they are not 100% available for us. That it only has a limited capacity, and in some cases it completely shuts down because we are too much engulfed in the anxiety. So now what happens when we try to take up, let's say that there is too much of things on our plate and we are struggling like which one to do first. You are completely frozen. It's like we call sometimes as a brain fade moment, right? We don't know what the hell I have to do with. In those kind of situation, you are completely drawn blank because your cognitive lobes are not really giving you any assistance because it's too much of anxiety in your system. Those kind of situations, it is advisable that if you take a few minutes to probably do this particular method and clean every part of this system, and you will find that naturally you sort of get back into your inner poise, and then from there you will be able to do whatever you have to do. So yeah, continue to finish this poll if you haven't done it. There is one question that has come. I feel my right side is harder to cleanse than my left side. Okay, so it's a good question. What I will actually tell you is I have had similar experiences also before, where I have felt that to clean my left side has been much easier than my right side. Now what you will actually find is with a few repetitions of this practice, you will find that it will be much easier. There is a reason why the left side is much easier to clean than the right side. I won't go into the depth, but I will give you a hint about it. Generally, any worries or anything that could be disturbing, when it enters your system, it enters on the left side. So naturally, there is a shift in the periphery over there onto the left side, so it's easier for you to clean there, and it's much harder sometimes to come to the right side. But slowly, as the poise comes to the center, you will find that it will be much easier for you to clean both sides. It's a good question, but you will find that thing naturally becoming easy for you with practice. The next question is, I had a question in the chat box. Where is?
I actually don't see any question. If you don't mind putting it up again here.
You can even feel free to ask if that's easy, but
Yeah.
if you want to drop in a comment, feel free to. But I don't know which question that is.
So I think we have another one where is it better to do the technique in a lying down rather than sitting in a cross? What I will quickly say is all of the practice that we do is generally advisable to do in a sitting position. because what happens is quite a few times you feel relaxed. And sometimes if the feeling is so impactful, you end up going in a sleep state if you're lying down. So we generally advise to do all the techniques that we do in a sitting position, whether you're sitting on a chair or your legs crossed, that is totally up to you, but sitting upright in a comfortable position.
So there is one question. I may not be, calling the name right, so apologies for it. Harai Hori. Hello, my name is Grigori, and I am a Humber College journalism student. I have to attend a virtual event of my course, and I chose your festival. I would love to get an opportunity to ask the organizers some question for my assignment. Yeah, feel free to. You are more than welcome. You're more than welcome to ask.
Yeah, Gregory, I did put it in the chat, but towards the end, we'll put out our email addresses where you can send us the emails with any questions you have and how we can help with your questions for your assignment or your project that you're working on.
Yeah, there is one question from Saraswati Madhavan. Does sitting or standing help with reference to cleansing? You see, I'll tell you one thing. When you do this particular technique, what you will find is when it gets really towards the end, you will feel a state of absorption. And this absorption, that's primarily because of the vacuum that is developing in your system. And it will be a very natural one that will lead you into meditation. When that absorption settles down, it's better that you are seated in a safer and a comfortable posture, a stable posture. That is why, Patanjali, who is the father of yoga, when he codified several things, he said, Sukham Stiram Asanam. Sukham means something easy. Stiram means that is stable. Asanam is the posture. So we don't want to necessarily force ourselves into a particular posture, especially at least with respect to heartfulness. That includes standing. But it's better that you are able to sit in a very comfortable posture that is stable enough so you won't, when you are absorbed into a deep state, fall down. So I hope that answered your question. And then there is one question that has come. Prabir Nyogi, how does one keep one's mind focused and avoid extraneous thoughts while doing this or any similar exercise? See, you have to understand one thing. There are different techniques. And so the question can be answered for different techniques from a different vantage point. I will answer to you with respect to this particular technique today. When you do this particular technique, it is natural that you will have some thoughts come. The reason is like when you are trying to clean some of these root causes or the stimulus which are source for the thoughts. Naturally, from the subconscious, they surface up into the conscious due to the vacuum, and you will begin to notice them. I will give you one analogy so you'll be able to better understand. In the film theater, in the cinema theater, right? When you have this projector screen up in the front, and then from the projector, when the light goes and falls, the visuals, what you see may look real, but they are really not the real thing. But if you see in that particular light that goes and falls on the screen, you will notice a lot of dust particles which are up there. It is like that. Awareness is like a ball of light. When you are beginning to do a particular thing and you're trying to clean the root cause of it, and when it surfaces up, you are able to notice all these things as dust thing. So now how do you keep yourself focused? Having the right understanding and attitude makes a big difference. If you understand and if you establish this understanding, or if you remind yourself that the reason why you are noticing all these things is because they are leaving you and you don't want to go behind them, because the attention that you give will give power to them and they will go back inside. So when you clean them and when you notice them, the way of understanding should be that they are leaving you and you just have to ignore them and stay with the process. The moment you have this right understanding, your mind will drop that idea. The next question, money.
Vishwa, before we go to the next one, just a reminder, if you guys can still go to the polls, I know we have about 50% coverage. 80% would be ideal. It'll help us and you, in a sense, it'll help us understand what worked, what didn't work, and it'll help us kind of tailor these sessions better to various different organizations like yourself. Sorry, go ahead, Vishwa, please.
Yes, yeah. All right. The next question that we have got is like from Moni Vilayangur. I'm sorry if I called your name in a wrong way. The question is, I felt sleepy when doing this technique. If you really want to know why, join the next session, and we are going to be covering that particular aspect in the next session. There is a particular aspect or a particular effect that there is in your brain waves, and you will begin to understand why it is. And technically, you may think that it is sleepy, but it's a state of absorption. It's not really a physical sleep. Now, how that works, how or what produces that, you will be able to better understand if you join the next session, because we are specifically going to cover this particular aspect. So next week, when we talk about developing the inner voice, you will be able to do that. So while you still take your time to finish your thing, I just wanted to project the contact information. See, there are several aspects about this particular technique that we did today. For example, there are several energy walls, where they are located, like what is the significance of this, what is the difference between the last technique and this technique. We couldn't really cover all those ones. uh, the intention is not to sort of intellectually overload you with all information. The attitude should be that the knowledge should be backed by experience. Only then you can actualize it. If you really want the knowledge, we can all go to Google, we can figure those things out. But what we cannot get over there is the experience. Now, the trainers with the Heartfulness, we can give you some deep dive sessions where every week we can meditate, and there will be some aspects or nuances of meditation we can take it up. And there are always light, infinitesimally small adjustments we can make in our meditation, and you will find how it augments your experience. If you are interested, connect with us. The number is actually on the screen. Feel free to connect with us. There is one question from Indra Keswani. My mind was not at peace today, so I could not go into meditation. Can you please give me some time during the week and I can call you? We will be more than willing to help you out. The reason why you felt is, see, I will tell you one thing. Your mind is like your child. It's part of you, right? If you don't work on it, nobody else can help you. When you feel hungry, we have to eat the food. Nobody else can eat to satisfy our hunger. Nobody else can drink water to quench the thirst that we have. So we have to do something about it. Think about a child in your house which is completely not listening to you and is all acting in every single weird way. Will we be tolerating this for a long time? I want to actually from my experience share with you something for you to take it away. We meet a lot of people who are seniors, say around 65 plus years. One thing what commonly they say is that they are not able to sleep peacefully because this mind chatter keeps going on and on and on, even during sleep. And so they go to doctors, they get these sleeping tablets they have to have. Sometimes the doctors say go take up to some meditation and then probably feel some peace or whatnot. But the point is, when we don't take up to some of the techniques to discipline our mind, like how we have to also pay attention to our physical health and discipline our health, the underlying thing is use it or lose it, both for physical health as well as for the mental health. Now, what we have been finding is many people, when they reach out to us in their late 40s or in 40s, they commonly share certain things that we see as a trend with what the old people used to say, like, who are 65 plus. That's primarily because of all the busy lifestyles that we are having, and all the pressures that we are being exposed to. So it's all, rightly or wrongly, it's causing all that sort of a effect. So what we will suggest is connect with us if you're interested, and we will help you out. And just so you all know, this all these things we do it after office hours, or taking time off our family life, or in the weekends, and we don't charge. No, there is not a dime that is charged for anybody. So if you're willing and if you're interested, connect with us and we'll be very happy to help you out. I think that there are no further questions that are actually coming up. So Sheila ji, I will probably leave that with you then.
There are participants who has raised their hands.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yes. Sorry, I'm not able to see everything clearly.
We don't see the raised hands.
Yeah,
Please.
Indra Indra, she raised and she refused. Yeah.
So can she ask?
I asked my question already. I wrote the question and I got the answer. So I'll give
Perfect.
you or Vishwa a call and
Wonderful.
talk to you later. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila ji, did we miss anybody else?
I don't see any raised hands now.
Okay.
Perfect. There is one raised hand. Who is that one? Prabir?
Yeah.
I think you're unmuted, Prabir. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
First of all, I would like to thank both of you for an excellent presentation. I have, of course, attended the first two sessions as well. And I have a question to ask you. What is the age profile of the people you see contacting you? Like, are they mostly seniors like myself, or are they in the younger age brackets, as Vishwaji said, 50 and below? I find this very interesting as to whether there's a shift in the age profile and more people are developing this idea that the health of the brain needs to be looked at just as much as the health of the physical body.
Yeah. So go ahead, Tanmay.
All right. So I'll answer that first, Prabir, and then Vishwa can add on to anything. So traditionally, if you look at it, when we associate meditation, people generally associate meditation to something that's in the post-retirement age, or something that you do when you don't have any work left, or you don't have any...
Brahmacharya Garhastha Vanaprastha.
That is correct. Yes. So, we associate these things by default to people who are, single, who have no work commitments. But what we preach on Heartfulness is completely opposite, is that you should practice meditation in your daily life once you have your full lifestyle, in a sense that you have a full family life, because that's where you will teach a lot of a sense of how you want to live your life, in terms of sacrifices, in terms of love, in terms of compassion, in terms of patience. To answer your question in terms of age trends, I think over the last few years, you'll notice that there is a lot of mental health issues that have come up, and a big category of age where this has come up is in the teenagers, in the 60 to 20 or 25, where there's a lot of mental issues that have come to the forefront, partially because of the social media, partially because of the awareness that everyone has access to. So we find that a lot of people who reach out to us, apart from this senior category that we want to call, we have a lot of working people who are trying to reach us and help balance their lives, especially because of COVID, on how they deal with work, how they deal with the pressures of working from home, and so on. And we have also a lot of younger people, which is great to see, trying to figure out, how can I deal with just the peer pressure or bullying or any of those things that they suffer from school or college, or pressure from parents to perform well at school. So we have a lot of those category of folks as well, kids who are trying to reach out to us, because it's hard to see when you just look up the newspapers, so many people or kids, or 18 to 28, suffering from depression, suicide, mental tendencies, and stuff like that. So this is where they reach out, and we also try and cater to those audiences, so we can tell them, listen, we are there. If you need anything, we are more than happy to help you with any of the techniques that we have to help you deal with any of the things that you encounter in your daily lives. Which one? Go ahead, please.
So from Tanmay actually covered everything. So basically, like from age 5 onwards until no limit, anybody can take up to Heartfulness. From age 5 to 15, there are some specific brain entrainment exercises we offer for kids, so that they can develop what we call as hemispherical synchronization, which is to synchronize the two sides of their brain, which helps them in various ways. I won't go into it in detail. And then we also offer Heartfulness in schools for elementary, middle, and high schools. We offer in universities. So there are also university students who take up to it. We also offer it in corporates, like how Tanmay said, there are working people who do it. We also offer it in community associations and senior homes. So where, people, who are, senior citizens, they also take up to Heartfulness. So age 5 is the starting point, and then it goes all the way.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
One of the open questions was if you've noticed an increase in requests for sessions for meditation, and I just replied back saying yes, we have noticed because of pandemic an increase in requests for more sessions to be organized for general public.
So just the last 1 year alone, we have offered around 170 plus hours of mental wellness sessions in the community as well as in corporates. And then besides, we also are offering 100 plus hours of group meditation experiences for people in the community. So it's a very, very vibrant and a very active space. So it's open and it's available for everyone to come join us and get benefited by it.
I think that's all for the questions that I can see.
Anything else, Sheila ji, that we are missing?
Now all the attendants have been answered.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, everyone. It was wonderful being
Thank
with
you.
you all. So back
And
to you.
We look forward to seeing you in the last session. Again, as we said, the fourth and the final session.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for conducting this session and giving us so much knowledge and experience on heartfulness to all of us. The experience has itself uplifted our minds and energy today. Thank you so much, Tanmay sir and Vishwanathan sir. Thank you.